Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. So today, as you can tell, we are going to do another video review of power stations. This is the new BLUETTI Elite 400 V2, and it's in a whole new series of power stations. So the first one of these that came to me was this one. This is the Elite 200 V2. It's 2,048 watt hours. I love the size, the shape, but this fits perfectly in my Subaru, so I kept this one. And when they wrote me and said they had just came out with a new 400, I was very, very enthused to get it as well. Now it's bigger. It's obviously bigger than the 200. This has a 3,840 watt hour battery. This only has 2,048. So it's not double, but it's in the ballpark of double. It's like 80 or 90% larger. And this is a lot of power. This is going to be a lot of power. It's my personal opinion. You want all the battery you can get. If you can fit this, this is what you want. As much as I love the 200, if I could fit this in the Subaru, this would go in the Subaru. I just can't. So the small one is for a car, but if you think that's all you're ever going to need, then it will work just fine in a minivan, or a full-sized van, or even something bigger, a schoolie. You could use it in the schoolie. However, once you get into the bigger rigs where you have more room, I would probably go up to the 400, just because you've got all that extra battery power, and you really, really do need all that extra battery power. The one thing I did notice is I have 300 watts of solar on the top of my Subaru, and it takes care of the 200 watt great. You know, I'm usually full by mid-afternoon, and it goes down overnight and then comes back up the next day. I don't have any problem keeping that full summer or winter. So now this summertime, this would have filled it up just fine, I think, in 2 days. 2 days at the outside with my 300 watt panel. My point is, if you're going to go with this in the wintertime, you need more solar. So my 300 watt is perfect year round for the 200, the Elite 200, but for the Elite 400, it's going to be a little low over the winter. One thing that all batteries need and demand, and that's particularly to a LiFePO₄, which is what both of these are, the safest lithium battery you can buy right now, but they really do want to be 100% charged probably once a week. And so in the winter, with a big battery and a small solar bank, you may or may not. You want a lot of solar. I would say 600 is ideal, 300 watt panels, and you will never have any problem with this. And in the summer, you won't know what to do with all that power. And if you have a van, you should easily be able to get 600 watts on the roof of a van, a big SUV. So you want more power with a great big battery like this, so that it stays, you get the maximum life out of your batteries. Now, one thing that's kind of unusual is they both have um, the exact same inverter. They're both 2,500 watts, which is fine. Very unlikely that you will ever need more than 2,500 watts. Solar, that's a big, big question. This will take 1,000 watts of solar, and it does use just a plain old XT60, which is great. You should have an XT60 lying around. If you don't, then you can get one from Amazon. They doesn't come with one. That's becoming the norm. So I bought probably a dozen or more, and more than 12 power stations in the last 2 months to test them going into the holidays. And only one out of all of those came with an XT60 cable, and that was the Opez. I hate that they've stopped giving them, but they have virtually all stopped giving them. So just go to Amazon, say, you do a search on MC4 to XT60. They're a dime a dozen. You can buy 100 of them. I think you get them for around 10 bucks, maybe a little more. But so it's not going to have any problem, but you're going to have to go to Amazon if you don't have a spare XT60. MC4 to XT60. That's what you're looking for. One thing that really stood out to me is that it's got some vents on the side here on both sides. Both of them have this vent here. I would show you, but I don't think I can show it to you on the camera. This one, when you look inside, is a big open space. And when you look inside this one, all you see is hardware. So this is packed full of stuff, and this is big and open. And I think that's a very good thing. That means it's going to stay cooler, run cooler, and therefore going to last longer. To me, that's just common sense. Any electronic item that has a bigger case will stay cooler, and all electronic items will last longer with more trouble-free if they run cooler. And so I believe that's going to be a big advantage to this. And that's one of the reasons why you get the bigger case. And you might be glad you've got the bigger case. Now, here's the one thing to bear in mind with both of these units. I think the whole Elite line, they give you what you need and nothing more. So what don't you get? And do you need that? What you don't get is you don't get the ability to add a different battery onto it. You get a great big battery in the one unit, and then you can't add another one onto it. Now, with the 200, you also get a 2,000 watt hour battery, which isn't great big, but it's big enough. And you can't add a second battery onto it. Another thing you don't get with this, you don't get a RV port, which for a lot of you is a really big deal. If you're putting this in an RV, then it's really handy to be able to just put this in one of your bays and plug your 30 amp service right into it, and then it draws all its power from this. So you get your solar on the roof going into this, 30 amp out, you run your whole coach. Super, super simple. You can't do that. This is not designed for that. Now, BLUETTI has many machines that will do just that. So they've covered you, and those machines are great power stations, and they're really quite cheap. But that is not what this was designed for. This was designed for a different purpose. So if you're buying it with the idea of, I may want to upgrade and run my whole coach on a new RV that I get. Right now I'm in a van, right now I'm in an SUV, but at some point I'm going to upgrade, then this probably isn't what you want. Something that I would highly recommend is BLUETTI AC200L, which will let you add an extra battery, which has the 30 amp service right on the front. It will take 1,200 watts of solar. This is for you're going camping, van camping, you're going in your RV, but you're not planning on doing a big expansion. You know, you've got just what you need right now. You don't need more. And my personal opinion is that for almost all of us, you're better off just to buy another one of these because you get the whole package instead of just a separate battery. And it's going to be just about the same price. So my opinion is if you think you're going to add an extra battery, just buy another battery sometime in the future. However, not having the 30 amp service on the front, that's a pretty big deal. And if you're trying to run a whole house, this is not for that. For one thing, it doesn't have 240 volt. And if you're running a whole house, you may absolutely have to have 240 volt. If you're trying to run a house off grid, you almost certainly are going to want 240 volt. Now, BLUETTI can cover that. They have the new Apex 300, which covers it in so well. If that describes your need, I would point you to the Apex 300. Fantastic unit. I've got a review on it, and it's a fantastic unit. Just uber expandable. I can't imagine you could almost never run out of the expandability on that thing. So a whole house off-grid system could be easily run. Not from here. Get the Apex 300 for that. And it also comes with a 2,000 watt hour battery inside, and then you can just keep adding batteries as you need it. Has 240 volt built in. All you have to do is turn the switch and you're at 240 volt. And again, if you're running a house off-grid, you're probably going to want 240 volt in the long run. One thing about the BLUETTI Elite 400 is that it's very heavy, 85 pounds. So if you have to pick it up and throw it into your rig or move it around a lot, be aware of that because it's very heavy and hard to pick up. However, to make it as easy as possible, it has the two good handles, and that's very nice, but it has an extension here where this goes up and goes down, and it has wheels. So it comes around and it goes, this is, you know, this is very rocky desert soil, and so it goes back and forth here just really well on this really rough soil. So it does super well. I think it's just it's a real handy thing to have it on wheels with a handle. So the bottom line is, this is a fantastic unit. It does everything I could possibly want it to do. I think it will do everything you want it to do and no more. And the great thing about that is they're very, very good prices. Whatever the great price is they're coming out with, because this is a super unit, has served me just super, super well. So as always, BLUETTI has hit it out of the ballpark. This is a great unit. It's going to serve a lot of people super well. And again, I love the AC200L, the AC300, the AC500. Those are all going to be perfect for that, for what you want to do. And then the Apex 300 is just uber, the ultimate in expandability, and you can't outgrow it. So any one of those will serve you super well if this isn't the one for you. Well, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you on the next video. Bye now.